Waiting on notification. Perfect. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning into a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have an incredible guest with us today, one who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than Sis Laweeda Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Well, alaikum salam, Brother Joshua. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal, ma'am. First of all, this means so much to myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast. I want to make sure that I thank you and thank everyone who's watching. The first question that we have for you, ma'am, is, both of my sisters, Miriam and Naima, send the greetings. Say assalamu alaikum.
Oh, alaikum salam. Please return them.
Yes, ma'am. And people are showing you love all across the country, and we can't wait to put this on YouTube. The first question I have for you, ma'am, is when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Well, Brother Joshua, I was blessed, or we were blessed. I have 3 sisters and myself, and we were blessed to all be born into the Nation of Islam because our mother accepted the teachings in 1940. So we grew up, Islam was what we knew, was all that we knew.
Oh, praise due to Allah. Yes, ma'am. And who are your parents, ma'am?
Well, my mother's name, both parents are deceased, but my mother's name was Sister Pearl 2X, and my father was Brother William 6X. And some of that, our mother came in first, but the first member of our family to become a member of the Nation of Islam was my mother's oldest sister, Sister Lucille. And when she came to Chicago from Mississippi, and she married and she heard the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and she and her husband joined the Nation of Islam in the late 30s.
Oh, praise to Allah. How beautiful. Yes, ma'am. And what was it like growing up in Chicago, being born in the Nation of Islam?
Well, what I would like to say, I enjoyed my upbringing, growing up as a Muslim, but keep in mind, we were very sheltered. And so our world was Islam. Growing up, living around Muslims, living in the nation's buildings, going to Muhammad University, riding a school bus for 12 years, back and forth. Islam was our world. That's what we knew. And so I have a wonderful memory of my growing up in the Nation of Islam. I mean, it was great, you know. I don't remember having a lot of issues about things that I didn't like because our mother's love of Islam and her love of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, what she gave to us, we loved him. Even we may not have understood anything about Islam, but we loved him and we loved the teachings based on how she demonstrated that in our home. So we were blessed to have the kind of mother that we had, who exemplified what I've come to learn as what an MGT looks like and sounds like and acts like. So I have wonderful memories of growing up. Praises due to Allah.
Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. Now, you spoke of Muhammad University of Islam. I was blessed to go, to attend with your grandchildren, and we grew up in Chicago, MUI. What was it like for you going to Muhammad University of Islam when you went?
Well, it was different than it is today, in the sense that all of our teachers were not Muslim, but that wasn't a problem for us, so we didn't even recognize that as a problem. But one of the things were all of the teachers were not Muslims, but they did know the greetings, so we exchanged the greetings. And I'm sure that prior to their being hired, it was discussed how they would conduct themselves. So we didn't have an issue with that. Some of our teachers were Muslims and some were not. The education that we received was superior in the sense that we growing up having the knowledge of self and the knowledge of Allah, the knowledge of the messenger of Allah, as well as the academics, the math, English, social studies. We always had Islamic studies. You know that because you all still had Islamic studies.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was a wonderful experience. We only went to school 4 days a week. We did not go to school on Tuesday. Tuesday was considered Unity Day. So we always had some kind of activities generally at MUI that we could participate in. And, sometimes we would have our cooking classes. We would make food on Tuesdays, and then we would sell it to those who would come maybe to a movie day or movie afternoon or something like that. So it was always some kind of activity. But even our principal at one time, Sister Christine Johnson was the principal, and I don't remember what year she came, but she was our principal, and she was very Black conscious. She wasn't Muslim, but she introduced a lot of African history to us, Black history. And so even in her travels back and forth to Africa, she actually came back one year and designed this pen pal program that we had. So we had different ones of us had people that we wrote to back and forth for years as pen pals. So I had a sister from Ghana, and my thoughts were when I became an adult, I was going to go to Ghana and meet the sister that I had been writing to for years. But we shared. It took a long time for the mail to come back and forth, so you didn't have that many letters during the course of a year. But we always corresponded with one another. And again, I always thought that I would get a chance to meet her, but of course that didn't happen. But she brought a lot of guests to the school that were from Africa, introducing a lot of information to us. As a matter of fact, one of the events that we had once when I was in grammar school, we had an event called the International Evening. And each one of the students who participated in the International Evening had to choose a country um, in Africa. And we had to find a food item that they were known for. We had to prepare that food item. We could make a outfit reflective of their culture or whatever. And we would give history and information about what that country was known for, the population, the life expectancy of the people in that area. So that was a really fun time for us, and it was called International Evening. And as a member of the Nation of Islam currently, and I thought once about our school being able to do that using the minister's World Friendship Tour and a lot of the countries that he went to. I thought the students would really enjoy an activity like that. It was a learning experience as well, but you had an opportunity to give information about the different countries that the minister went to if we were to use the countries that he visited in his World Friendship Tour to give that to our students and perhaps put on an event like that. But it was a fundraiser. People paid to come in, and we would share information with them, about the country that we chose and so forth. And it was ultimately a winner selected by the judges, who would go around and get the information from each student and see who had presented the best um, history of that country.
All praises due to Allah. Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. Sister Laweeda, people were showing you love all across the country. Sister Daisy, Sister Tracy, Sister Sonia. Mrs. Naima says all praises to Allah. That's beautiful. Thank you all for continuing to like, share, and subscribe to the People's Podcast. Now, Sister Laweeda, did you ever get a chance when we would be at Muhammad University of Islam, the most minister would be next door many times and just come see the students? What was it like for you to be around the Most Hon Elijah Muhammad? Did he ever come to the school? What was that like?
He did come to the school, but I have one better than that, Brother Joshua.
Yes, ma'am.
Our mother worked in his home from the time that she became a registered member of the Nation of Islam. As a matter of fact, she was there with Mother Clara when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was on the run, helping with the children and the family during that time. So later on, she actually he wanted her to be a cook in his home. So she was his cook for many years. And then when the Nation of Islam opened Shabazz restaurant on East 71st Street, he sent her there for a couple of years to be the cook at Shabazz restaurant, and then he brought her back to his home. So needless to say, here's how it goes in the nation, our mother working for him cooking for years in his home. Then later, when she began having difficulty, standing for such long hours, he asked her if she would be his housekeeper. And so she said yes. And he told her that she could get some help. So now you know what Sister Pearl did, right? She figured, why train someone else when she had already trained her daughters how to keep house? Even though I was working in corporate America, my mother asked myself and my sister Wanda and my older sister, Sister Durana, she asked us, would we come and help her? Now, how do you turn your mother down? You
Yes.
don't.
That's right. That's right.
So we all went to work for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in his home as his housekeeper. And so not only did I have an opportunity to see him at the school when he made not a lot of visits, not often, but I had seen him at Muhammad University, but I also had the honor, the privilege to work in his home. So I had a chance to see him quite often, and I was able to even speak to him on numerous occasions. Personally, I was able to speak to him.
All praises due to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And what was the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad? What did he wear? When he was at the house, how did he appear?
I always saw him in a suit and bow tie. Always. I always saw him in a suit and bow tie. And very serious, even though he may have said something that might cause you to chuckle. But believe me, at the root of whatever that statement was, it was something very profound when you thought about it. So, but we always saw him in a suit and tie, always.
All praises due to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Now, did you have any interactions with Mother Claire?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, Mother Claire was so beautiful. Whenever we went in to clean her room and things like that, sometimes she would offer me clothing because we were the same size. And she would give me a few garments, beautiful garments. Nothing was wrong with them. She said, "Do you like this?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she said, "Well, try it on. And if I could wear it," she said, "it's yours." But she was very kind, not smiley or, she didn't joke around or anything like that. She was very serious, but there was a kindness under the firmness that she always displayed. But she was very kind to my sisters and myself.
All praises to Allah. Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. Well, what was it like in 1975, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad departs? How did that personally affect you and your family?
That was a very trying time. However, I'm going to make a statement and then I'll come back to the question that you just asked me. Growing up in the Nation of Islam, having the kind of mother that we had, when we went to the mosque, there were rules. There were rules everywhere, right? But there were rules. And so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad may speak easily 4, 5, 6 hours at a lecture. We were only allowed to get up and go to the restroom twice. So therefore, you were not running in and out of the mosque all day going to the restroom. So when you went, you really had to go to the restroom because you had to sit and listen. She didn't allow us to sleep during the lecture. We would sit and we would listen to him speak. So during that time, we were at 5335 South Greenwood, and we were children, but we were at the mosque. And something that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, something that he said, I never forgot. And he said one day, one day, everyone will say that I am dead. He said, even the devil will say that I am dead. He said, but brothers and sisters, I will not be dead. I will have gone away to receive the new book from Allah. And when I return, I'll be on his right side. Now, Brother Joshua, saying that to you now is almost as if he had said that to me then. But of course, let's fast forward to 1975. 1974, I was working in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's home, but I was now pregnant with my third daughter. And after 3 months, you are to go home and return after your child is 3 months old. So I was at home on maternity leave at the time, and my daughter was born in December. So my two other sisters were still working in the messenger's home, and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's home. They were still there. So even though I was on maternity leave, at that time, my husband had an accident and he did construction work and he injured himself, and I had to go back to work. Well, I couldn't go back to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's home because my child was only a few weeks old. Well, she was like 6 weeks old. So I went and got a job in corporate America, and I was downtown working in Sears Tower. However, Sister Lana Shabazz was in town. That was his cook in Phoenix, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's cook in Phoenix, Sister Lana Shabazz. So she was in town. So of course we stayed in touch. We talked over the years and everything. And Sister Lana was staying at a hotel downtown. So we had touch bases. I said, listen, when I get off from work, I'm going to come to your hotel so we can, spend a little time together before I go home. Lana said yes. So all of this was arranged prior to Sister Lana coming to Chicago. So when she gets here and she lets me know she's here, fine. Now, Lana calls me we heard about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's passing. And it was shocking to some degree. But then I was able to pull up what he told us in the mosque years and years before. So I said, oh, this is it. So then my sister calls me. She's working in the home. And she's actually one of the ones who's answering the phone. And she said, Laweeda, they're saying that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is dead. And I said, don't you remember what he told us? Don't you remember what he said? I said, I don't care what they're saying to you. What did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad tell us? I said, he never lied to us. So she said, but Weeda, they're saying it. I said, I don't care what he said. I don't care what they're saying. I'm telling you what he told us. So anyway, now I've got Sister Lana calls me and she's weeping. She's crying. She's so upset. And she said, baby sister, they say he's gone. And I let her get it out. And I said, Lana, I said, I need you to listen to me. I said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us about this day. He told us that everyone will say that he's dead. I said, don't you remember? She said, no, baby sister, he's gone. I'm telling you. So Lana was trying to do me a favor. She gets the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's doctor on the phone. And she said, this is my baby sister. And she just doesn't believe it. She said, doctor, can you please tell her? So he said to me, he said, I'm so sorry to tell you that he passed away, and he gave me yesterday or last night or whatever it was. I don't remember that part. And I thanked him. I said, I thank you so much for taking the time to share that information with me. And so he said yes, and we greeted each other, and he hung up. And I went right back to telling Sister Lana, don't you remember what he said, Sister Lana? Don't you remember? I'm telling you, don't you remember what he said? And I repeated what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had said to us. So she didn't really want to hear it. She was very emotional, and I understood that. But I kept trying to repeat to those who would listen what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had said to us one day in the mosque. finally, as time went on, Brother Joshua, I felt like nobody seemed to remember. And different ones kept saying, but they saw the body. They saw this. I said, what did he tell us? So I was one of those during his departure that did not believe that. And that he told us that he would be gone about 3 years. So in that time, I did my best as far as I could based on my level of understanding to hold on. And so when the 3 years was up, see, I didn't understand it like we understand it today based on the minister's role and what he went through, the trial that he went through. But I kept holding on. I was reading the Quran and I said, well, it's 3 years, 3 literal years, or is 3 years 30 years, or is 3 years 300 years? Am I not understanding the 3 years?
Yes, ma'am.
So I knew that I would not follow our brother Worth Dean. I knew that the minister was supposed to be the one that that person that would be over the mosque and so forth. So when the minister was staying with Worth Dean for that time, now I was confused. I said, oh, wait a minute. I'm just going to have to sit here and wait for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's return because I didn't understand what was going on. Make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So anyway, and I wasn't judging him. I'm just trying to be obedient to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But it was like being disobedient because I didn't go with the minister. But I thought, well, if the minister went with Worth Dean, I can't go with Minister Farrakhan. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
like
ma'am.
I got the wisdom and knowledge to judge this thing. But I waited and I waited and I waited, and I would go in and out of the final call periodically to hear the minister. And then, but it didn't hit me that I should come and do this. All right. In 1981, when the minister had the first Savior's Day, and he said that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was still physically alive, I jumped up out of my seat. I said, it's about time somebody has said what I had been trying to repeat for so long, but I did not think that anything else was true. I knew that that was true. I just didn't know how it was going to manifest itself, because I'm looking to see him. Well, and you let me know if I'm too long-winded now.
No, take your time. Take your time.
Okay. Well, during that time, my daughters, because I wasn't going to the mosque or anything, I just kept trying to practice Islam as best that I could in my home with my children. So my oldest daughter was a hairstylist, and she used to buy the minister's lectures. She would come home late at night after being in the beauty shop all day, and she would put the lectures in. The volume is up loud. She was asleep. It would awaken me like 2:00 in the morning. I hear the voice of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad awaken me out of my sleep. So I said, well, he's trying to tell me something, and I'm not understanding what he's saying. And by the time I'm fully awake, I went into, I said, what is that? And I go in there, I said, oh, she got Farrakhan playing, and I would turn it off and go back to bed. This happened to me on 3 separate occasions, all around the same time, all around between 2 and 3 a.m. This girl would put these lectures in, and it awakened me. So the third time that it happened, I sat down in the room where she had the videos playing, and I said, let me hear what Farrakhan is saying. So I'm listening. I said, that's right. Go ahead, teach. Now I'm bearing witness loudly, okay,
Yes,
very
ma'am.
loudly, because it's like my soul was hearing Islam that I hadn't heard in a long time. So I thought when I got up from that lecture that morning, I said, well, you're probably just being emotional, Laweeda. That's probably you're just being emotional. So I dismissed it, the good feeling, the spirit that I had, the way that I felt after hearing the word of Almighty God Allah coming through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So, when you have daughters, you have a lot of sons, right? All those young men who want to be your son because they try to get next to your daughter, right? So one of the young men came to me, and my sister, let me go back. My sister Wanda had already returned to the nation and was active in the Nation of Islam, and I had not. So one of the young men that came to me was talking to me about the war, and he was saying he didn't want to go. And I went and got what the Muslims want and what the Muslims believe. And I said, you read this. I said, we don't fight wars. I said, you tell them that you're a Muslim. I said, and if they want to lock you up, I got you. I got you. Whatever you need, I'm going to take care of you while you are incarcerated, but you're not going to this war. So then when he left and we had this conversation, I called my sister. I said, Wanda, what's Farrakhan saying about the war? She said the same thing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. She gave me no information. Okay. So I said, well, what is he saying about this? She said the same thing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. I said, okay. So in January 1991, I decided to go to the mosque. Now, I thought I was going incognito. I mean, of course, I covered my hair because I know that's what we do as Muslims, but I had on a very modest garment. I was seated up front in the wing on the sister's side, and believing that nobody in the mosque would recognize me because I haven't been here. And I sat right beside a sister who leaned over to me and said, Assalamu alaikum, Sister Laweeda. And I looked at her and I said, well, alaikum salam, Sister Rose. I knew her and she knew me. And here we were in the mosque at the same time, seated right next to each other. The whole time that the minister spoke, the tears just ran from my eyes. And literally, I was happy that the blouse that I had on was like a cream colored blouse that you couldn't tell that it was wet. My blouse was wet with tears. And it was like my soul yearned to hear the word. And the minister said that if we came out that Wednesday, he would teach us how to get up into God's mind. He said, get up into God's thinking. And the lecture is entitled The Mind of God. Well, I decided I'm going to go Wednesday nights and I'm going to listen to this lecture because I wanted to understand Almighty God Allah's thinking because I'm still not clear on what took place. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So here I am. I went Wednesday night. I had a lot of things that were trying to prevent me from making it to this lecture. My children said I need a book from the bookstore. One of the other children needed this. And I did what I could and I ran out of here. I said, I've got to go. And I went to the mosque. I left everyone at home. And I got in the door and in my seat probably 2 minutes before the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was brought in. And he came in, and that lecture, The Mind of God, is the one that made me say, I'm coming back to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to do whatever it is that I can do. And it was that night that I made the decision to come back after that lecture. I cannot tell you. I believe I wore out 2 VHS tapes of The Mind of God, and I eventually got it on DVD and on cassette, because that lecture was the lecture that turned me around and gave me the understanding that I needed to come back with a desire to help his servant in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I thank Allah. I feel like I can say that I understand what it means to be reborn. I was blessed to be brought up in Islam my entire life, adulthood and a little beyond. But that death that I experienced during that time of the fall of the Nation of Islam, I was reborn in 1991, January, after hearing The Mind of God. And by Allah's grace and mercy, I've been here ever since. And with his blessing, I will be here until whenever Allah decides that I will not be here. Beautiful. So that was a long answer to your very short question. You know Muslims are long-winded. You already know that part.
Yes, man. All praises to Allah. Beautiful, Sis Laweeda. And people are showing you, I just want to read some of the love you're receiving. ASA, that's Sister Aisha from Phoenix, sends you her greetings. Sister Audrey from Chicago says, Assalamu alaikum, alhamdulillah. Sister Tracy from Baltimore says, beautiful, praise be to Allah. And I can't wait to put this on YouTube so you can get more love all across the nation. Sister Laweeda, we have more questions for you, but we have a quick 60-second commercial break. Yes, for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast. I want everyone to make sure that we continue to just show love to Sis Laweeda in the comments, and on YouTube, please let us know the questions so that we can continue to ask her and get this information firsthand from someone who worked in the home of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and has been just a stout believer. All praises due to Allah. Sis Laweeda, you watched me grow up and my siblings, but I never knew any of this information about you. So this means so much to me, ma'am, that I'm learning all of this history about you now. Yes, ma'am. I have a new appreciation, and I want to thank you on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast for your sacrifice and the many sacrifices of your family as well. We thank Allah for you all. We thank Allah for you all.
Praise be to Allah.
All right, here we go. We're gonna share the screen just like that. Here we go. All right, boom. Okay, perfect. Here we go. 1 second. There we go. All right, so Laweeda, here we go. Want to give all of the sponsors. There we go. There they go. All right, yes, ma'am. All right, we're showing the sponsors now. And thank everyone who continues to show love. Oh, there we go. Boom. All over the nation of Islam. There we go. If you would like to be a sponsor and or donor, please cash app the People's Podcast. We want to thank you all very much for every sponsorship, every donation. We have people all across the country who give anonymous sponsorships. And it's just a great feeling to see you all support us and in our continued effort to bring great history from across the believers all across the nation. There we go. All right, 1 second, Sis Laweeda.
Yes, sir.
Here we go. I don't know what it's doing. All right, and thank everybody who continues. Thanks to Audrey. People are giving personal testimonies in the comments about you, Sis Laweeda, so I want to make sure that I read them to you as well so that you can see what the believers are sharing all across the country. Oh, here we go. Come on. All right. 1 second. There we go. All right, here we go. So I just want to press one more thing. And then we're going to get back because I want to ask about the minister prior to 75 to let you know to look for him. That makes you know that he was something special. I really want to hear that story as well. All right, here we go. Come on. Okay, boom. We'll come back to it. All right, Sis Laweeda, our next question What was it about the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan prior to 75 that let you know he would be the one that you should look for if something happened to the minister? You didn't see the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad physically.
Well, I was present the day that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad sat the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in his seat. I was there when he said, when you see him, look at him. Wherever he say go, go. Wherever he says stay away from, stay away from. So I was there. So I knew that we were in of course we were in at Stony Island because he sat him in that seat by the rostrum. So I knew that because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that. So I just didn't know. I just didn't understand how this would play out. And so in my mind, I thought, well, with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's departure, that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan would just assume the position, if you will, not knowing that there were other dynamics and things behind the scene. And that was the part that I didn't understand. And so, you know, and the minister talked about it and told us why he did what he did. Then I understood, but at that time I had no understanding of it. So it made me say, you know what, I'm just going to wait for the return of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I did not know until after hearing his voice, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's voice, in those different times that I awakened from the lecture, I was hearing the voice of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So I didn't understand it then, you see, and that they were one and the same, or he was growing into what Almighty God Allah had designed for him. So I'm thankful to Allah that my life was spared, that I could be here to bear witness. And I thank Allah for that. I want to say one note on this, that I'm always a little disturbed just in a motherly way when we bring our children to the mosque with all of these electronic devices to entertain them during a 2-hour mosque meeting. We sat for 4, 5, and 6 hours to hear the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It's 2 hours. We have to do better as mothers, as parents, to train our children to sit 2 hours and listen to the lecture. These things that I remembered that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught was based on my sitting in the mosque and listening to the lecture. Not distracted, just as we find that there is a distraction if you're on your phone and you're driving your vehicle, okay? You're on your phone and you're walking down the street falling in manholes. You understand what I'm saying? It's a distraction if they're in the mosque for 2 hours, distracted by an electronic device versus listening to the lecture that is being taught that day. Even our babies, we teach them how to clap when everyone else claps, you know. And but we have to train our children to listen to the word of God coming through whatever representative is on that rostrum. And so even though we were blessed to hear the voice of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and other ministers as well, but we were blessed growing up to hear him more often, you know, at that time. I just think it's important. So that's my plea to parents and to actually train your children to listen to the lecture. We just don't know how long we will be around to continue to guide them. And that word is going in if we allow them to listen. So that's my sidebar, okay?
Oh, listen, excellent teaching. All praise is due to Allah. And people are saying that you gave them their first dish, their dish sets and their chess sets.
Oh, I know. They told me all my gifts were girl gifts. Always had something to do with cooking and so forth, right?
People showing you love, saying this sister is so kind, no nonsense, full of love. All praises due to Allah. Yes, ma'am. How did your family and friends feel who weren't in the nation, who saw you in 1991 say, I'm standing with the Most Honorable Minister Farrakhan, I'm back with the Nation of Islam? How did they feel?
Well, I think they all knew me well enough to know that if this was a decision that I made, and I came home and made that announcement to my family that was living in the home with me, my daughters, and I said, this house is about to change back to what I knew that it should be. And and so that was the announcement that I made to my immediate family. But everyone else that knew me probably thought that it would have happened long before then. But you know, sometimes when you get introduced to the world that you had never been a part of, there are some things you say, oh, this is fun. or this isn't so bad. And so sometimes you get exposed to things that you were never exposed to before. But I just thank Allah. I thank Allah over and over again for blessing me to be able to, or to guide me back to where he knew I belonged. And before the Honorable Elijah Muhammad departed from amongst us, I was there when he left town on that last trip before they said he returned and had passed away. And many of us who were working for him at that time, or working at his home, we all greeted him. We were greeting him as he was leaving to depart to go to Mexico. And so we were waiting down by the elevator to greet him, to send him off, if you will. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he came out and we gave him the greetings, Assalamu alaikum, dear Holy Apostle, we'll miss you, and so forth and so on. He said, he stopped and he turned and he said, may Allah bless you and keep you until I see you again. And then he took a few more steps and greeted a few more people, and he stopped again and he turned, he said, may Allah bless you and keep you until I see you again. And then he said, and he turned around and said, may Allah bless you and keep you until I see you again. So I thank Allah, because by whatever means it took place, I thank Allah so much for his prayer for us, and for Allah sparing my life, that I could be here today, even to bear witness to these teachings. So I'm thankful. I'm very, very thankful. And I'd like to share one other conversation, which was a conversation that helped me to see the scope, or to begin to see the scope of the work of the Nation of Islam, or the work of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. One time I was in the palace. Now, we always called the house next door the house. And then when the palace was built on the corner, we called it the palace. So I was in the palace, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was sitting in the living room area at the palace. And I was passing through. I gave him the greetings, and he returned them. And I said, dear Holy Apostle, I say, you look a little tired today. He said, oh, sister. He said, I am tired. And I said, well, maybe you'll be able to get some rest and soon, or something like that, I said to him. And he said, oh, he said, all of our people have to be taught Islam. He said, even the Mexicans. And I'm saying to myself, them too? Now, keep in mind, I'm thinking it's just the so-called Negroes here in the hills of North America, okay? Mm-hmm. And it made me go back and look at what the Muslims want and what the Muslims believe. Because I don't think I really saw it before he said those words to me, when it says about believing that the so-called Negro would be resurrected first. it didn't say that no one else would be resurrected, but in my mind, I thought we were the only ones we were after. And in my mind, I thought everybody knew about the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I thought all Black folks, because I grew up on the south side of Chicago, in the Chatham area, where all the businesses were that the Nation of Islam opened, the Salam restaurant, the Your supermarket, the the bank, Guarantee Bank, and all of the barbershop, the clothing factory, the sales and office building. I thought everybody from my little world of Chatham in Chicago, I'm thinking that everybody knew about the Nation of Islam and the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, only to find out that that wasn't enough. It wasn't just the south side of Chicago. But growing up, you think it's your world, and it's your world, being sheltered, not going everywhere and anywhere. I just assumed that everybody knew. Everybody knew about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, only to find out when you're talking to people and they see you and they say, well, what does that mean, what you have on? And you look at them like, is this a joke? But our people just do not know. And so it made me, again, to better understand the magnitude of the work of the servant of God. That all that the Nation of Islam had manifested under the leadership of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and all of the traveling and speeches that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that he's done, there's still so many of our people who have not heard Farrakhan, have not heard. They've heard Islam, they've heard Muslim, but they do not know about the Nation of Islam. So we have to be more diligent in representing it, and both with our presence and with our words.
Yes, ma'am. Your teaching, Sis Laweeda, people all over the country are showing love. Thank you for your transparency and honesty. Sister Aisha said this is a beautiful testimony. She loves the history. Sister Tracy said beautiful reflection. The sister from Ohio says just continue to like, and people just showing you love from YouTube and all over the country. Thank you all for tuning in. My next question, ma'am, did you ever get a chance to have a conversation with the minister about understanding the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad departing? Did you ever get to share what you wanted to understand that?
No, I have not. I have not had an opportunity to have that discussion with him. I had an opportunity to ask him a question, but at that time, it was during the early days of the final call. And he did not give me an answer that evening. But I've never had an opportunity to have a discussion with him about it since then.
Yes, ma'am. Now, Sis Laweeda, we've seen your daughters, growing up in Chicago and all over the nation, dealing with charity, holding posts, serving the nation. Me being a driller, seeing them drill, representing the Nation of Islam in Chicago, very strong with the MGT. What advice would you give to future mothers on motherhood?
The best advice, and I'm going to grab it. I think I have it right here near me. You can't get better advice than what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gives, right? Mm-hmm. And in this great little book, on page 44, someone asked the minister that question. So, I try not to reinvent the wheel. I can just say what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, right? Mm-hmm. It says, what was the best advice you gave to your children when they were young? And then it says grandchildren. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan responded by saying the best advice is found in the words of Solomon, where he advised young people to believe, follow, and commit to their Creator in the days of their youth. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, many of us live to get old before we finally submit. But if young people realize how important it is to submit to God in their youth, then their lives will be a great and productive life for the good of self, family, and our people. Accept your own and be yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Beautiful. All praises due to Allah. Now, Sis Laweeda, what type of music do you like to listen to, ma'am?
Oh my God, you asked me that on. I like all kinds. I like all types of music. I
Okay.
do. I like all kinds of music. I mean, from rap, conscious rap, not low down, filthy stuff. But I'm saying I like blues. I like jazz. I love classical. I love it all. R&B. I mean, I like it all.
All praises
I
due to
do. I have to be a little more discriminating as to which songs I'm going to listen to for real, because as time goes on, the lyrics get a little, they get a little bit, they get a little worse and worse.
Yes, ma'am.
But I love all kinds of music.
Yes, ma'am. Now, you spoke earlier about when you came to the mosque, the sister knew you and gave you the greetings. Have you stayed connected with people that you grew up in the nation with over time?
Just a few. Sister Rhea is we went, I think from 5th grade on, we went through school together at Muhammad University. Of course, Sister Dolores Ali's daughter was Sister Sharon formerly. Now she's Sister Ra'afa. We all went through MUI together. Sister Sybil was along with one of my other sisters during that time. She's a nurse here in Chicago, and she is someone, that we still communicate with. But it's not a lot of believers that I'm still in touch with from the group that I grew up with. Many of them are not currently active members of the Nation of Islam. But Sister Rhea and I just waved at each other the other day. We were at the 4th of July celebration at the property. And Sister Ra'afa and her husband, Brother Raouf, is the chief of protocol.
Yes, ma'am.
So I've known them, like I said, since I was like in 4th or 5th grade, when their mother, Sister Dolores Ali, joined the Nation of Islam. So we've been close and, like extended family.
Beautiful. All praises due to Allah. Yes, ma'am. We have 2 more questions for you, Sister Laweeda. My sister Miriam says, thank you both for this powerful interview. Thank you, Sister Laweeda, and thank you, Sister Miriam, for continuing to watch. So Laweeda, what advice would you give to the future generations now that we know the Most Honorable Minister Farrakhan said we are facing the same trial that you are to face with him departing, with everyone keeping their faith strong? What advice would you give?
No one has ever proved that any word that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has spoken is a lie. I know that people say, well, don't be a blind follower, but follow until you understand, because we're taught that understanding comes after we obey. Just stay close to your Islam. Strive hard not to deviate from it, and hold on to what we know that is good and right and true. This is the truth, and no one has been able to dispute it. So as we undergo the trial, we need to hold on to one another and pay attention to those who are not on the same page with you. Move around. Get with those that you know that are striving like you're striving, and you hold on to the handle of Islam, because it's true. And we're going to pray to Allah that he brings us through. But it's going to be, the minister has already told us, our obedience is what's key to our survival. We have to obey. So these rules and regulations that we have, they're rules and regulations wherever you go. You can't drive down the street. You got to stop at the doggone red light, or you may fool around and kill somebody, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You put your turning signal on to change lanes so people will know the move that you're about to make. I'm saying there are rules and regulations, and everything that we have been taught has meaning, has purpose. And until we get that understanding, just obey it. You can still search for the understanding. It's like trying to change the teachings. Why? To make it fit what you want to do. Isn't that called deceptive intelligence? To rationalize disobedience to God. The minister gave us a definition. So we just have to work harder at being true to our Islam. It's right and exact. It's right and exact. We just need to obey. But in addition to that, remember what our Constitution says in the forward, that natural law mandates that we acquire knowledge. And the man or woman who refuses to study becomes a detriment to the freedom, justice, and equality of us all. We must study. Then the minister goes on to tell us in closing the gap that the good student is one seen practicing that which he or she is learning. The quote may not be verbatim, but you get what I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am.
So
yes,
we
ma'am.
have to study and practice our Islam. That will get us through with the mercy and help of Almighty God Allah. And he said we can't be good Muslims without Allah. So we must pray and ask Allah for his guidance and his protection. But we can't get up from prayer and act like we never heard the teachings.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
Allah has spared my life, but we want to work hard to try to be here upon the return of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So we're about to undergo another trial. I can't tell you that I will make it, but I'm darn sure going to be striving hard to get through. But we have to hold on to what we say we believe and to strive to practice what we know is right and exact. Accept our own and be ourselves, right?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Sis Laweeda. And Sister Tracy says, beautiful. Energy is powerful. Excellent. One more question for you, Sis Laweeda. What would you like your legacy to be, ma'am?
I think the minister corrected us on that word, but I understand your question.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the things that usually when I am in a situation where I'm striving to maybe correct something that's going on around me, I try not to come from Sister Laweeda. So generally you'll hear me say, well, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, or the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, or something like that. And I believe that you might get a consensus that that's what I do when I'm talking to us, is because every time I'm talking to someone else, I'm also talking to myself. And a reminder is a mercy. So I think that Sister Laweeda is going to give you words from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And she's going to tell you that she's trying to keep Laweeda out the way of whatever it is that I am striving to convey. Because it's not because I'm so right and so perfect or anything like that. It's just that I want for my brothers and sisters what I want for myself. So if I correct someone else, I'm praying that someone will love me enough to correct me when I'm out of order. And just give it to me straight, no chaser. I handle it better that way. So I give it to us straight with no chaser. So some people like me, some people don't. Some people appreciate it, some people won't. But I just want to share, because if somebody has an opportunity to keep us from going down a path, and just sharing our own story. I said, I've been there, done that. You want to hear what happened to me? And this is a trial that you don't have to go through if you don't want to. And I look so often to how the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan shares his experience with us.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not for nothing. We could take that, and when we're faced with those same situations, we could say, what would the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan say? What did the Honorable Mr. Farrakhan do? To help give us what we need, that extra boost of something to help us get through this trial or whatever it may be. So I guess that's what it would be. That I strive to give us what we've been given. I don't have to make up anything. You asked me that question about the youth. I read it to you from the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, because that's what I tell you. The same thing he said. So there are many trials that we do not have to endure if we would just strive. We're going to be tried now, don't misunderstand me. But sometimes you don't have to go through the same stuff I went through. You could have a new trial.
All praises due to Allah. Excellent. And Sister Laweeda, people are showing you love all across the country. Sister Brenda says her spirit has always been firm but gentle. And thank you all very much. Sister Laweeda, we thank Allah for you and your family. You've always been kind to me and my family. And I thank Allah for you and your daughters, your grandchildren, your siblings. And now I know that you were born in a nation and your parents accepted Islam. I mean, I didn't know any of this. So this is going to be very inspirational.
Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 generations of pork-free children. When you look at it like that, yes, 4 generations going on a 5th generation, because I have some great grandchildren.
Hey, all praises.
So, inshallah. But I'm saying pork-free. It doesn't mean that we're free of everything, because we know we live in this wicked world. But I thank Allah for the opportunity to be able to say that, because we have had an opportunity to bring our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren up that way. At least if we can keep the pig out and keep some other things out, hopefully they have an opportunity to make it through.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank everyone who's watching and showing you love. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off of the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Thank you again. And thank everybody for watching.